Aisha looked left and right, but saw no one. She carried the baby from the basket and saw baby's food. She fed the baby, and in no time the baby slept. Aisha waited till evening, but it was as if the baby had no owner, because no one came for her. All effort to look for the baby's parents was in vain, as no one seems to know the baby or her parents. A long time ago, there lived a beautiful girl named Aisha. Aisha was the only daughter of her family and the only one who had a birthmark at the side of her chin. She was a born beauty who grew up in the midst of 7 boys. Her brothers loved and cared for her, but Aisha was not content because she also wanted to love and care for someone younger than her. One day, Aisha went out to fish alone in the stream. She had never gone out alone to fish, but since all her brothers got married, fishing with her dad has been boring. So she decided to try fishing alone today. On her way to the stream, Aisha heard a strange but familiar sound. Ah! Why am I hearing the sound of a baby by this time of the day? She increased her pace, and the more she got closer, the louder the sound. Aisha could not believe her eyes. Before her was a baby placed in a basket beside the stream. Aisha looked left and right, but saw no one. She carried the baby from the basket and saw baby's food. She fed the baby, and in no time the baby slept. Aisha waited till evening, but it was as if the baby had no owner, because no one came for her. All effort to look for the baby's parents was in vain, as no one seems to know the baby or her parents. Aisha went home with a heavy heart. She was satisfied she got to look after someone younger than her, but her heart bled for the child whose parents is nowhere to be found. Aisha's parents, Alimat and Ibrahim, flared up when they saw Aisha coming home with a child. I don't care where you get that baby from. You better return her and come back to tell me where you've been, shouted her father. Aisha, where have you been? I have been back from the market since afternoon, but you were nowhere to be found. Where did you go? Asked her mother. Aisha, with tears, explained everything to her mother. Her mother took the baby from her and invited her inside. Halima talked to her husband and he became calm and said, I will allow the baby to live here tonight with the condition that we will go and look for the owner first thing tomorrow, because there is no way I am letting my only daughter bring in a child from nowhere. The next day, Aisha and her parents went to the village leader to present the case of the baby. Aisha was shocked to hear the news, as it has never been heard in the village of Udu before. He promised to do his investigation and return the baby back to her parents. Aisha, although they enjoyed taking care of the unknown baby, prayed the baby would reunite with her parents soon. In Osu, a neighboring village, Princess Ngozi was wailing and lamenting over her lost child. She had given birth to 6 girls. and was praying for her seventh child to be a boy. A midwife from Udu, who was assigned to take care of her, foretold Ngozi is pregnant of twins. Ngozi did not care as long as they were boys. Prince Uchenna, the only son of King Osi, had been having sleepless nights. I am tired of mother and father always disturbing me for an heir. What if Ngozi does not give birth to a boy? Or should I just listen to mother and take a second wife? Uchenna thought aloud. The last meeting he had with his father did not end well, as his father had already decided to get a second wife for him if Ngozi did not give birth to a boy child. The search has already begun, and his maternal grandmother from Udu had already given him 5 options for a wife in case Ngozi give birth to girls. Ngozi knew the fate that awaits her if her seventh child is not a boy, so she paid a midwife from Udu to be in charge on the day of her delivery. If I give birth to girl twins, please take one away and leave the other one for me, as the shame will be too much for me to bear. But if they are boys, don't take any of them, she instructed the midwife. On that fateful day, Ngozi gave birth to a set of twins, a boy and a girl. And as planned, the midwife took the baby girl, leaving the baby boy. The next morning, the midwife in charge of taking care of her and the baby discovered that the baby boy had suffocated and was no longer breathing. Ngozi was informed. Everyone consoled her, but she was inconsolable as she was in the pain of losing 2 children. The news of the lost child soon got to Osun village, and although Ngozi was uneased, she maintained her mourning mood. The king requested for the missing child to be brought to Osu for proper investigation, as the fingers of all sons and daughters of Osu were marked immediately after birth. Aisha refused to let the baby go, knowing fully well that her parents have not yet been found. Alimat was very hesitant to let Aisha go to Osu, but Pa Uche assured them that they had nothing to worry about. Alimat felt uneasy, but her husband made it known to her. If Aisha is going to Osu, then we are, because my daughter cannot go to a strange land all by herself. So the decision was made. They were all going to Osu to look for the baby's parents. The representative of every family of Osu was already present at the king's palace, and as Aisha and her parents entered, everywhere became noisy. Oh, is that the daughter of the king? Does the king have another family? She looks so much like the king, were the whispers flying in the air. King Osu came out and was greeted by shock. He looked from Halima to Aisha and back to Halimat. Mr. Ibrahim was as confused as the king, but he remained calm. The king, clearing his throat, said, "My great people of Osu, we are gathered here today to identify if the parents of this little girl is amongst us." He received the baby in his hands and met a great shock. The baby looks exactly like Princess Ngozi. The king quickly paused and sent for the princess. Ngozi in her hut was already shivering as she regretted all her actions. She walked slowly praying that her sins should not catch up with her. She got closer and saw her carbon copy lying quietly in the king's arms. She went on her knees and started weeping before everyone, begging for forgiveness. She told everyone the truth and begged Ushena to forgive her. Ushena cried as he took his child into his arms. He could not believe that their desperation for an heir could drive Ngozi to abandon their daughter.